Mason shines in Mocs' 82-78 comeback win at the Citadel. It felt as if Mocs senior Z Mason was battling the Bulldogs all by himself Monday night. The forward, who tallied his 5th straight double-double, finished with 30 points and 14 rebounds. 26 of the 30 points were scored in the second half. Watch Mason's stellar second-half performance.
Quality on the glass. You can't let that guy right there, in particular, Z Mason, beat you up on the boards.
He's beaten him on the boards on the offensive end. All 7 of Mason's rebounds on the offensive end, yet he just hasn't been able to convert. He has just 2 points in the first half, 4 points on 2 buckets. All right, starters on the floor for both sides as the second half starts. Bulldogs led by as many as 10 in the first half. Chattanooga never led in the first half. An unforced turnover for the Citadel, something they had very few of in the first half, begins the second 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's an empty possession right there, unforced. That didn't have anything to do with Chattanooga's defense.
Barreca somehow slips that one down to Z Mason.
Mason missed that again, even though he had an arm hanging on him, but trust me, he will not continue to miss like he did in the first half. You cannot allow him to have point-blank opportunities in the paint.
4 straight double-doubles for Mason. Just a 56% free throw shooter, but he has been ferocious on the boards. Over 12, nearly 13 rebounds a game over that stretch.
He's a huge key, maybe more than anybody else in blue tonight, if they're going to kind of come back and chip away at this deficit.
Bulldogs need to hustle. They get across the stripe with 1 second left. Head fake from Moore sends Barreca flying by, and the extra pass to Harris is the 7th 3 of the day for the Bulldogs.
Beautiful extra pass. Could have been selfish in taking it. Wouldn't have been a terrible shot, but they got a better one.
8th offensive rebound for Z Mason, who again misses the chip shot. G. McGee. And it's Bulldog basketball.
Boy, we'll see it again. Just a terrific extra pass by Moore. Great shot fake. He saw McGee flying at him and saw Marshall Harris III just absolutely wide open, and Harris thanks him, pointing his finger. That's good basketball right there.
P.J. Horgan back in. Gave him 4 minutes in the first half. A couple of boards, couple of points. If you missed it, Horgan thought his career was over. Van Soyk's career is just beginning. The sophomore, the best three-point shooter on the team, has hit 4 of them tonight. Pryor had that one affected by Harris and then fouled.
Time and time again, the Bulldogs have beaten this pressure and had shot opportunities, this time from behind the arc. Thought Van Soyk was going to shot fake for about a 16-footer, chose instead to just go ahead and shoot it right in the defender's face.
Freshman Pryor, who was a late signee for the Mocs, was also their best free throw shooter. He got on campus, just as school was starting. That's about when they signed him.
Well, you're exactly right. There was no summer school, no really initiation into their system or their program. It was just right away in September when school started, and then he's been thrust into a major role without the services of RONRICO White there in the first 14 games of the season.
Van Soyk continues to find himself open. And P.J. Horgan, coming back off a back injury, just had a lot of people at McAllister Fieldhouse holding their breath as he was tabletopped. But Dean, that's what he told me today. I want to see what happens when I take some contact. Didn't have a whole lot in the first half. There's your initiation. Fall on your back.
It's part of the game. No one's fault. It's a contact sport. Good to see him bounce back up there. We'll see how he handles it here moving forward over the next minute or so.
Going to get Casey Jones on the push.
Mocs have had several hand-checking calls like that. They really aren't a good half-court man-to-man team in the sense of guarding the end of the ball.
But they continue to give the Citadel fits when the Citadel brings it in on the baseline. The 10-point game, largest lead was 12 moments ago. Z Mason makes it 7.
And that's a good-looking shot, but there's a part of me that thinks both coaches are happy because of that. Will Wade, because he got 3 points out of it. Chuck Drizel thinking, let him continue to shoot that.
Van Soik took the extra step looking at G. McGee. And suddenly you can feel Chattanooga slowly starting to build a little bit of momentum.
You're exactly right. Will Wade knows this is just one of those nights on the road in the Southern Conference. May not be at your best, but you're just going to have to somehow find a way to grind out a victory.
Mason, a 3 on the last possession. A gliding layup on this one. 5 straight for Z.
I don't think anybody wanted to take a charge on him that time. That big fella coming down the lane like a train.
After the largest lead for the P.J. Horgan rejected by the league leader in blocks.
Well, nice pass right there by Moore, but Horgan wasn't necessarily expecting it, fumbled it, and then just doesn't have the lift right now.
White down the lane. Jones affects the shot. It's White on the floor who wins it. Stepping into the 3, Marshall Harris. That's going to go against Casey Jones. 2 quick fouls in this half.
Boy, and the one time that the Citadel Bulldogs inbounded, get a point-blank look, they can't convert.
Again, inbounding on the baseline, another turnover. Z Mason and 1. Quentin Marshall wasn't set, wasn't in legal guarding position. Z Mason's taken over the game.
And Marshall tried to get back. He was outside that restricted arc, but feet were not set. Good call by the official.
Seven straight for the one-time football player at Ole Miss. And 9 straight for the Mocs. We wanted to see chaos. In the blink of an eye, a 12-point lead is down to 2. White with the long jump shot. Marshall with the athletic rebound. And a couple of free throws coming his way.
Thought that was a quick shot by White. Time and score. Sometimes freshmen don't understand that. The Citadel had to try to put some points on the board here in this possession. They got a chance now with the foul, but dodged a little bit of a bullet.
Sophomore out of Raleigh. Coming off his best game of the year. Citadel's lost to Radford in their last game. He had 10 points. Only time against a Division I team in double figures this year.
Kind of a utility guy for them. He played primarily forward, power forward at times last year, and he's really been all over for him, but he's really done a nice job on the glass tonight. Not all of them have translated into points. These do from the line, but he's done a nice job of really giving effort down there. Much needed point possession for the Bulldogs there.
Anything to slow that 10-0 run. Mocs are winners of 3 straight coming in. Bulldogs have lost 3 straight and 7 of 8. This is the Southern Conference opener for the Citadel. That one clipped the net. Stokes couldn't control it. Now it's Ashton Moore on White. And it's another offensive rebound nearly for Marshall. White down to the floor. And it's a 2-on-2. Not a lot of contact. G. McGee earns himself a trip to the line.
Oh, Harris kind of raises his hand saying, "Ref, I got out of the way," and I thought he did. A little bit of an anticipation. We'll see it again in transition here. McGee looked like there was a whole lot of ball on that.
when the Citadel was at their best in the first half, Dean, they were effective in the half court. They weren't scared to get the shot clock down to 10 or inside of 10. We saw it a number of different times. It seems like right now, the pressure from Chattanooga is forcing the Citadel to up their tempo a little bit, and it's taking them out of their rhythm.
We saw it in the last possession with that quick shot by Brian White. Now this is a 5-on-5, as you say, and they just need to run their stuff and get the best look possible.
Ashton Moore in the lane. He's got 14.
This is as good as I've seen Moore play live.
Z Mason starting to feel it. Mason had 4 points in the first half. Already here in this half, he's got 10. Comes away with another steal. Chance for Chattanooga to tie with a 3. And it doesn't even draw iron. Good look. Maybe not the guy they wanted to take it.
No, Pryor really has not shot the ball well this season. The staff will tell you he's a good shooter, just playing a lot of minutes. Needs to get his legs into that 3 a little bit better.
After a slight decision, the ruling is the ball will stay with the Citadel. They'll have 9 seconds on the shot clock after watching their 12-point lead evaporate. Bulldogs had a shot blocked out of bounds. Shot clock down to 6. Those 8 rebounds for Mason, every one of them on the offensive end. It's been the big trouble spot. They'll get it into C.J. Bray. Short-armed it. White had Bray closing out on him. And the rebound's down to Ashton Moore.
Bulldogs need to see the ball go through the hoop here. They've gotten a little bit tight. You know, you mentioned it before the break. They're letting the pressure kind of affect what they do here in the half court.
Bulldogs have 5 turnovers this half, and they're 5 of 15, now 16 from the floor in this half. This will stay on this end. It'll be the 5th on Chattanooga.
Now the Citadel takes it out again. It's been an adventure just about every time tonight.
Bulldogs have shot the 3 exceptionally well. As well, if not better than at any point in time this season. And the other thing the Citadel does better than any team in the Southern Conference is shoot free throws. Now 6 fouls on Chattanooga, not 6 minutes into the second half. Something else that could settle down Chuck Drizel's Bulldogs if they can earn a couple of trips to the line, get some easy points.
Absolutely, and he knows that, and that's what he's talking to his team about. Continue to drive the basketball when the opportunity presents itself.
Van Soik with a strong screen. It was an illegal one. Moved into Pryor to knock him down.
Trying to play a little 2-man game there on the sideline. Van Soik knows what he wants to do. Just enough of a lean right there where Gary Maxwell on the baseline saw his shoulders moving.
It's a 13-4 run right now for Chattanooga since they faced their largest deficit of the game early in the second half when they were down 12. Pryor rejected by Van Soik.
And a block that stayed in bounds. Could have swatted that all the way out of bounds.
Moore throws it away.
Those are the kind of possessions that'll drive you crazy as a coach. You get a defensive stop, you've got a little bit of an advantage break, and then you throw it into the crowd. We played just over, 6 minutes, 15 seconds, and that's the Citadel's 6th turnover this half.
More turnovers than field goals made. Z Mason. 19 now for Mason.
Look, I know those threes are all well and good and he's capable, but in a game like tonight, that's where he's going to do work. That's where he's going to be most successful and put the Mocs in a chance to have success.
As close as the Mocs have been since early on in the first half. They'll go to White, count the bucket.
Boy, a much-needed basket to stop the bleeding. Nice pass. Van Soik saw a cutting White inside there, and he was able to finish with contact. Had the Mocs kind of scrambling defensively. White caught it and finished it. White obviously there too late, and that is a huge basket in this game.
Horgan back into the game. Got to believe that's the Z Mason effect, what he's been able to do underneath.
Well, it allows you to rest Van Soik for a few minutes here, maybe until the under 12.
Late closing out on Z Mason. And the most emphatic of his 21.
Wow.
This is Z Mason against the Citadel.
That was a city dunk. That was no suburban dunk right there.
Moore, the underhanded pass, last touched by Bareka.
Darren, we'll watch this again. Kind of an isolation, and he goes at like 3 defenders.
Inside, outside, the Bulldogs have no answer for Z Mason. And Mason affects that one. White doesn't have the tip. Comes down to ASHTON Moore. Marshall at G. McGee taking an extra step, and it gives the Bulldogs a little bit of breathing room.
Little stutter step, anchored that left foot there in the paint. Was able to finish.
Now for the tie, Eric Robertson, just our second tie of the game.
And you can sense it on the Mocs side. Now it's a matter of the confidence level of the Bulldogs. How do they respond to a little bit of adversity right now?
A 20-8 run, the majority of the 20 from the fifth-year senior Z Mason. Brian White missed over him, but tips it in over him.
Slipped the screen, missed the first attempt, but stayed with it. Nice job by the young fella.
Got a foul here. P.J. Horgan got both hands into Z Mason, who has taken over this game. 17 of his 21 here in the second half. And the Bulldogs
to just 33% here in the second half. They've also cut down on their turnovers during this win streak, and they've just got 1 here in the second half.
That's an offensive foul on Mason. One of the few things that hasn't gone his way. He has 17 of the 24 Chattanooga points here in this half.
Interesting. Official Tim Gaddis was emphatic about that. I don't know that there was a lot of dislodgement.
That's going against G. McGee. And the Bulldogs are shooting. That is 9 on the Mocs.
I think Will Wade is saying, even though it was in a different part of the floor, that's a similar block charge call that was just went against me and Z Mason. Darren, you made the comment earlier, though, about as good of what could happen for Citadel is getting to the free throw line.
And if a free throw can get the team going, or if it can get ASHTON Moore going, he had 8 of the team's first 10 points. Has 7, now 8 points since then. Back to Mason.
Same play we saw before, just that ISO. They bring him up to the elbow, allow him to make a decision if he wants to shoot the jump shot or put it on the floor, 1 or 2 dribbles and get to the rim. Citadel just having a hard time guarding him right now.
You know, he doesn't have a whole lot of height. He's listed at 6'6", but his size and his physical play is something that the Bulldogs can't match.
No, look, there's a lot of, and a little bit of exaggeration, but there's a lot of Larry Johnson in Z Mason, particularly when he's able to hit that jump shot out there.
Certainly what Larry Johnson was at the higher collegiate level and then into the NBA it's a fair comparison. What Mason is at this level.
Yep.
19 of the 24 Chattanooga points this half. He's got. That was onto the end line. It'll stay with the Citadel.
Interesting, Gary Maxwell was not going to call a kick on that. It just happened that Robertson had stepped out of bounds. Now in a close game, boy, that pressure really just, it's almost like there's 6 guys on the court at times.
Especially for a Bulldogs team that's trying to crack through. New year for them, start a conference play. Trying to turn into an upward trend. Inside 10 to shoot. Another 3-point try for White. He had 8 coming into the game. That's his second today. The crowd wanted to travel. I don't think McGee actually rolled.
No, and never put his hand underneath the ball at any time either.
White beaten by Z Mason. 21.5 for Z Mason.
Nice body control there. Got by White and then didn't charge into Van Soik, who was set.
Now, Furman didn't have an answer for Mason. None of the last 4 teams the Mocs have played have had an answer for Z Mason. And you start to think down the line, who in the league? Maybe Damon Brooks at Davidson? Maybe Western Carolina. Who in the league will have an answer for Mason? 3-on-2. RONRICO White throws up a wild one. And the Bulldogs have numbers. Sledge hits the trailer White. 2-point lead for the Citadel.
Boy, nice job, freshman to freshman right there. Wasn't sure what Sledge was going to do with it. And out of the corner of his eye at the last minute, made the decision to go to White, and a good one.
Doesn't get the roll. Freshman out of Keller, Texas here. Showing fatigue, and Chuck Drizel will take the timeout. He sensed it as well. First of the half, timeout on the floor. To him early, and I think it's thrown them off their game.
No, it has. They, in that first half, early on, they gained some confidence by breaking the pressure, making some shots, and they haven't been able to do it here in the second half. They just haven't been able to find any level of consistency at the offensive end, and thus it's affected their defense a little bit too. They have not done a good job, it's an understatement, on Z Mason.
That timeout from Drizel allowed him to get his 2 starting guards back onto the floor. You know, they've had some good scoring outputs tonight, the Bulldogs have. Here they've got 3 to shoot. It's an open 3 for Harris. And an offensive rebound for the Bulldogs.
Really had no post-up opportunities in there with White, Corrigan, Bray, anybody that's been in there. They just haven't been able to throw it in there and get a nice little jump hook.
But this lengthy possession, the possession and the offensive rebound, now this much more similar to the first half as Z Mason comes away with another block. It's a 4-on-2 run out and a G McGee miss followed by the foul.
Boy, did Z Mason get up on that last shot. On that last shot blocked. You see him right here on the help side. He just comes up and raises. He leads the Southern Conference in blocks, and you can see why. Doesn't necessarily block his own man's shot. That's the mark of a good shot blocker. You really come from the help side. That's what he did that time.
He's got 9 in his last 2 games. A career best 6 on Saturday, 3 tonight. And he's got his 5th consecutive double-double to go along with it. I feel like we're talking a lot about Z Mason, but he has become the bold print storyline in the second half.
No, he absolutely has. And I'm not sure that there's a Player of the Year candidate in the Southern Conference playing any better. A long way to go and a lot of games to be played in January and February, but I don't know, other than an injury, and he seems to be back healthy, that anything will stop Z Mason right now.
Casey Jones was the story on Saturday, a near triple-double. Relatively speaking, he's been quiet tonight. We're tied up again, 4 ties. Chattanooga has never led. The Bulldogs held a 12-point edge early on in this half. As we work inside 8 minutes to go here at McAllister Fieldhouse. Six to shoot. Ashton Moore over Casey Jones.
Second time tonight we've seen the Citadel run the shot clock down to under 3. Have to take a deep 3.
Yet Z Mason has nearly outscored the Bulldogs in this half himself.
He's just feeling it right now. And he's a guy that had 40 right before the Christmas break.
If the Bulldogs aren't careful, he's going to have 40 this half. Harris worked his way into traffic. Chance for Chattanooga to take its first lead of the game. It's RONRICO White, and it's an offensive foul. .646 to go in Charleston. The lead remains in the hands of the homestanding Bulldogs in their conference opener. Door of his first career double-double with those career-high 9 rebounds. But the question, can the Citadel hang on? Can they find a way to win against the Mocs team that has already learned how to win in the early part of the season? Had to come back to beat Maine 86-80 a couple of days ago. Going to get a foul here on Stokes. That's the 10th on the Mocs double bonus for the Bulldogs.
And you're right, Derek, but I think both programs are learning how to win. Citadel hasn't seen it as much this year, but even with Chattanooga under this 3-game win streak, and really the last 4 games, they played pretty well at UAB without Z Mason. And they seem to be a confident bunch, but you know, they haven't strung together, 2 road wins. They haven't had a ton of adversity in conference yet. So, this win by either team is going to go a long way tonight. Partner, I tell you, of the viewers, DVR that BCS game for about 20 more minutes, because it's going to be pretty good finish right here.
Marshall Harris slid down on Z Mason. Z Mason comes away with the rebound anyway.
Boy, and he knows he's missed a bunch inside, but none easier than that one tonight. Mad at himself that he's going to have to earn 2 at the free throw line rather than just taking 1 free throw for an old-fashioned 3.
As good as Mason has been in the second half, with now 24 points. Bulldogs have to be pleased with their freshman Brian White. He's acquitted himself well throughout the season. Yet tonight he's got 18 points, despite the physical advantage for the guys in blue.
That's a great point. Other than a couple of quick shots, that quick 3, he has done a very nice job in his first conference game.
Stokes allows Quentin Marshall to take that 3. It's exactly what the Mocs wanted. Horgan right in Mason's face. Down to Lance Stokes, affected by Marshall. Ball has still not hit the rim, and that didn't hit a Citadel player either. Jones throws it out of bounds. It's Bulldog basketball.
That's about all Jones could do. His athleticism allowed him to out-jump and gain that rebound, but had nobody to throw it to. Nice job by Van Soik to get out of the way.
No surprise that we've got a close one between the Bulldogs and Chattanooga. Last 6 have been decided by an average of 5. Van Soik bobbled the pass, finishes anyway. Stokes didn't draw a foul, let him play on, and it's a second chance point. 2 of them, in fact, for Casey Jones.
Well, I have a hard time with that. You know, they've called the block charge all night long, and then they let that go. Call it one way or the other. Stay consistent.
Inside 5 to go. It's a 2-point Citadel lead. Now they'll go to Van Soik, fronting Mason. It was the 3 ball for Van Soik, his first 3 baskets, but now his last 2 have been inside the arc. And on the last 2 Citadel baskets, we've seen Chattanooga do what they do best, push it back down the floor.
Absolutely. That's where they were good in the first half, and they're finding
the last 2 sequences, he had made a living outside the arc. He had 12 points on 4 threes until that layup and the jump shot.
Give Citadel credit, though. They've been punched in the mouth numerous times here in the second half. They've fallen back, but they haven't fallen down.
They've fallen into a couple of ties in this half. Yet still, we've played more than 35 minutes, and the Mocs have never led. Ashton Moore finds P.J. Horgan on the baseline. Now he finds Brian White on the baseline. 20 for the freshman.
White's not always pretty, but boy, is he effective. He knows he's just got a knack to put the ball in the hole.
And he has a knack to pull down the rebound as well. Now Harris takes a quick shot, earns himself a free throw as well. Well, this Bulldog team has withstood
the 3-point basket.
Citadel's only missed twice at the line tonight. They have withstood a blistering second half from Z Mason and have a 6-point lead with inside 4 to go as the Citadel tries to start Southern Conference play with a win, which would snap a 3-game losing streak.
Well, it's huge for the reason that their next 3 are on the road as well.
G. McGee lines up the 3. It circles out. And Z. Mason saves it back for the Mocs. Another 3 for McGee. And another offensive rebound. This time it's Casey Jones making it a 4-point game. And a timeout for the Mocs.
You know, as much as we've talked about Z. Mason, Jones is quiet.
Yet it was the Bulldogs that punched first, controlling the tempo on both ends of the floor in the first half. Here in the second, we've seen a little bit of chaos, but we've also seen the Citadel withstand it.
Now give this Citadel group credit for just hanging tough and playing through, you know, all the bad that's happened to them. Some self-imposed, some imposed by chaos.
You're getting a lot of minutes out of P.J. Horgan, too, more than I think they expected. Quentin Marshall's 3 is off the mark.
Not sure that's the shot that they wanted at that time.
And White moves it right back down the floor, making it a 2-point game.
So many times, bad shot leads to bad defensive transition, and it did that time for the Bulldogs.
The trailer is Marshall Harris. You like that move to pass on that 3?
Yeah, I do. Absolutely. It's a 1-possession game. Harris knows that they can get better.
Uses the white screen, draws the foul with 2:08 to go.
You've got to stay aggressive, but to your question, look at Quentin Marshall. I mean, he's just 3 of 15 on the season, and he takes that 3, and then you give up a basket at the other end. You've got to make sure you put points on the board, and Marshall Harris is going to make sure of that here as he go to the line.
Harris missed his last. Now he's missed a couple in a row. Best part of the Citadel team when they need it most. Lead the league in free throw percentage. Harris makes it a 3-point game. Tell you what, Z Mason's been quiet the last few possessions, hasn't he? Horgan blocks the shot. Got into him as well. He'll make Chattanooga earn it.
Well, nice move by Will Wade to go to a little two-man ball screen action. You know, Brian White got caught in between. He didn't want to leave Mason for fear of a throwback for a 3. But then he got stuck right there kind of in no man's land and wasn't able to really help his defender, and thus White got fouled.
That is the 4th foul on Horgan. A chance for White to make this a 1-point game. And he can't convert, but the Mocs save the possession as it's off Horgan's foot. And the Mocs will run in their best 3-point shooter, Martinez Barreca. Chance to tie or take the lead. And it is Barreca, the best 3-point shooter, gives the Mocs their first lead of the game.
Well, in the Citadel Bulldogs were in a zone on that out of bounds. They stayed back. He really called for it. Casey Jones missed him. Instead, he skipped it to Barreca.
Bulldogs have taken every punch the Mocs had to this point in the half. Do they have another counter punch with 90 seconds left? Plenty of Bulldogs have shot the ball well tonight. Their best shooter, Van Soik, not on the floor. The quickness advantage, ASHTON Moore. Couldn't launch. Bulldogs have 5 to shoot. Moore with 1. Got a foul. Z Mason bailed him out.
Certainly did, and he knows it too. Left his feet. Cardinal sin of fouling a jump shooter. That was a bailout. Just 1 second on the shot clock. Harris and Moore playing a little two-man game. They had him in the corner. Just stay on your feet if you're Z Mason. He knows it.
Clearly the foot was on the line as Moore alertly jumped into Z Mason. And ASHTON has 20, and he's tied the game.
You pointed it out, Darren. Interesting that P.J. Horgan is in there instead of Matt Van Soik. I think Coach Drizel feels like Horgan can defend a little bit better inside.
Horgan's given them 15 minutes tonight. They wanted 5 to 10. It's a 1-point lead for the Bulldogs. Inside 60 seconds to play. Back to Mason they go. Working against Horgan. It's last touch by Marshall. Just like the last set play. Their freshman White's got 20. All of that trying to offset the second half from Z Mason and the Mocs. Set play down to Jones. Working up and over White. Ties the game. No, gives the Mocs the lead.
Nice job by Jones, just sneaking behind White's line of vision right there.
Keep in mind, Z Mason on the floor with 4 fouls right now. It'll be Ashton Moore beating Barreca, hitting the rim. And it's Z Mason securing the board, allowing Will Wade to take the timeout.
You see this last inbound, they had Mason taking that out again, kind of ball fakes. White just kind of gets turned around just enough to where Mason can find his teammate Casey Jones, who's athletic enough to get it up and in.
He officially is listed with 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Nonetheless, the Bulldogs trying to commit a foul if they can't get the turnover. And they'll get the foul here, but not how they wanted it. 2 free throws for Greg Pryor. Nonetheless, it would have been 2 free throws. And now P.J. Horgan's fouled out.
You can get up and get a basket to get this thing tied or back to 1 again.
Yes, a freshman. He's also the best free throw shooter the Mocs have. He's 6th best in the conference. Best he can do is make it a 2-point game.
Amazing what pressure will do.
As good a rebounding team as the Mocs are, they didn't even have anyone up. A 2 to tie, a 3 for the lead. With just under 18 seconds to play.
Will Wade will call the pressure off and just tell his guys to dig in man for man right here.
Harris attacks. Z Mason comes down with it. And with 7.5 seconds left, it'll be Mason to the line.
Not a terrible thing, though. Even though Mason's having a great game and has shot well from the free throw line tonight, he's just 55% coming in. Our guy points right now.
Easy. He was 2 of 10 in the first half. Two free throws coming his way. .56% shooter at the line, the only senior the Mocs have. And he makes it a 2-possession game with 7.5 seconds to go. The Mocs will let the Bulldogs go until Mason decided to go for that block with 1.5 seconds left. Which actually gives the Bulldogs life. Make it, then maybe intentionally miss. I don't know if 1.5 seconds is enough to knock it out to the perimeter and hit a prayer of a 3, but the slimmest of hope remains.
You've got 2 choices. You make the first and you miss the second. To your point, it's 1.5 seconds is not very much. Now at this point, you've got to make this one and hope you come up with a steal.
And a 3. What a comeback it's been for the Mocs, who did not lead until late in this game. They trailed by as many as 12. But the second half from Z Mason, the defensive pressure, earns Chattanooga.